Coming up on Cronkite News, the Telegraph and Mezcal fires continue to burn. We'll update you on the containment of these two wildfires.
And later, help in the fight against opioid overdoses, how a new law could help people detect deadly fentanyl.
And a little later on Break It Down, we look at the controversy surrounding First Lady Jill Biden's doctor title.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Erin Slindy.
And I'm Gianluca D'Elia. Thank you for joining us. Governor Doug Ducey announced an emergency declaration for the Mezcal and Telegraph fires near Globe. Combined, these two fires have grown to over 150,000 acres in size. Overnight, firefighters have been able to get control of the blazes and progressed containment. Crews were able to set up strong lines of protection of the Mezcal fire on the north, south, and east sides. According to INSEE, web response teams are not pushing on the western side. As of this morning, the Mezcal fire is now at about 30% containment. Two other communities were set to go status in their evacuation orders, Beverly Hills and the T11 Ranch. The Telegraph fire, meanwhile, was at about 20% containment as of this morning. Crews will be setting up fire lines in the Pinal Mountains tonight to continue containment efforts. 5 structures have been burned due to the Telegraph fire.
The National Weather Service has issued an excessive heat watch warning for the next week in Phoenix. The National Weather Service predicts temperatures could be as high as 116 degrees early next week. Those temperatures could beat the daily record high maximum temperatures set for early June. The National Weather Service says these warnings are sent out when temperatures are well above the norm or if it can affect someone's health. At this time of year, highs are usually in the low hundreds. Meteorologists say that while this year isn't likely to set records, it is still likely to be hotter than usual.
Opioid overdose deaths in Arizona increased by 34% in 1 year. Fentanyl is considered a synthetic opioid that can be 50 to 100 times stronger than morphine. Faith Abercrombie followed up on the new legalization of fentanyl drug testing strips.
From October 2019 to October 2020, the CDC reported synthetic opioid deaths increasing by 93% in Arizona. The synthetic opioid fentanyl is often unknowingly laced in other drugs. There are a number of efforts to combat deaths due to a fentanyl overdose, including drug analysis strips. Up until May, the distribution of these strips was illegal in Arizona, but now a new law is giving hope to people trying to prevent more deaths.
It is, as I suspected, a very clear positive for fentanyl.
Within minutes, a fentanyl test strip showed these street drugs are laced with the potent synthetic.
We see it being mixed into stimulants like cocaine and methamphetamine, and fentanyl is a completely different effect on the body.
This test was not always legal. In 2019, when we first met Kathy, she was handing test strips out with a harm reduction group.
If for some reason some policeman comes to me and said, whatever you're doing is illegal, I would say, fine, take me to jail.
Today, thanks to a number of laws signed by Governor Ducey in May, these strips, along with clean needles and syringes, can legally be distributed.
Take me to jail. Just go take me to jail. It's like, oh my God, did I say that? But that's what I felt. You know, everybody deserves a life.
Even though these items are now legal, the stigma still exists. Kathy is a harm reduction volunteer who asked us not to show her face.
My initial reason for even looking into this was because a family member became addicted to opiates after he was prescribed.
I never dreamed I would be trapped in something like this.
Kathy's son Justin was prescribed opiates after breaking both of his wrists. The initial prescription led to further drug use.
When I started getting sick because I didn't have them, I didn't even understand why. I had no idea. So then when they took me off the Dilaudid, I'm still getting sick, so now I have to buy them off the street.
Justin and other harm reduction advocates say the legalization of these strips could have the potential of changing and possibly saving someone's life.
Harm reduction is just a basic human right, and because there's so much stigma around drug use, people don't think about it as a human right, but it is.
According to a study done by Johns Hopkins, about 70% of drug users would change their behavior if they knew fentanyl was present. In the studio, Faith Abercrombie, Cronkite News.
A congregation is in shock after finding a swastika, an anti-Semitic slur, spray painted on their synagogue in Tucson. The rabbi of Chabad on River says the vandalism probably took place Sunday night. Police are looking for a suspect, but they say they have no witnesses or video. The synagogue plans to install a new security system. The Jewish Federation of Southern Arizona says before this, someone threw a rock through the window of another Tucson synagogue.
The person that did this, or people that do such things, they're motivated by a very strong feeling of hate, of obviously ignorance as well. My question is, what happens next? And I'm really concerned about that.
The president of the Jewish Federation is asking allies and neighbors to stand up to these acts of hate and intimidation.
Coming up on Cronkite News, the myth of snake bites during drought. Is there an increase in attacks? We'll explain how snakes handle the extreme drought and what to watch out for.
And later, the story of how this young student is getting a head start on her dreams. Don't go away.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
Everyone has secrets. Are you protecting someone?
I have no choice.
You do have a choice. You're looking at him.
That's amazing. We could be standing on top of a T-Rex right now.
Women demanded new space and pushed the boundaries of what being a lady means.
These and other shows are available with Passport. Become a member of this PBS station. Sign in and start streaming today.
Cronkite News provides students at ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism with the opportunity to gain real-world experience in the newsroom. At Cronkite News, our students produce professional content for audiences by taking on all roles, whether they be reporting, anchoring, producing, or studio production. Each department gives students first-hand professional newsroom experience. For more information, visit cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Hey, I'm Rick Steves. You know, I don't go anywhere without my passport. And now, thanks to PBS Passport, you can travel with me and watch all 10 seasons of Rick Steves Europe and all my travel specials. This exclusive streaming service is just for our members. Not only can you see all my shows, but you can see thousands of hours of your favorite public television shows. Become a member today and get your passport.
Arizona's current drought isn't just hard on human residents of the state. Rob Winder reports on the drought's effects on rattlesnakes and your chances of being bitten by one.
If you find an unwelcome guest of the long, scaly, and limbless variety in your yard, Joe Himes of the Phoenix Herpetological Sanctuary can help.
We get about 300 calls every year from all over the valley asking us to come out and remove those rattlesnakes.
In this unusually dry year, Himes says rattlesnakes have been especially prevalent in places where they might be able to get a drink.
Yesterday I went out to a school that has only been closed about 5 days, and there was a rattlesnake sipping up water from a faucet that was leaking out in the playground.
But the popular notion that we will see more snake bites because of the drought is a myth. That's according to a 2018 Stanford medicine study, which found that snakebite incidents in California were actually lower during periods of drought there. ASU Life Science professor Dale Donardo says that's because snakes don't move around as much during these dry periods.
They're ectotherms, they don't produce their own heat, they get heat from the environment, they have very low energy costs, so they can basically stay down in a burrow and say, hey, I'm gonna wait till it rains, I have enough energy to survive. If I go to the surface to look for food or try and hunt food, I may dehydrate in that process, whether I find food or not.
Summer is not peak snakebite season in Arizona anyway. But there are certain times of the day when you still need to be careful.
They're out when it's cool out. And so during the summers, when it's really hot during the day, when we hit 105 or higher, you're less likely to see snakes out and about in the morning, but you will see them out and about at night when it cools off.
But regardless of rainfall levels or the time of day, there's one thing about rattlesnake behavior that doesn't change.
Just remember that rattlesnakes don't want to hurt you.
In Scottsdale, Rob Winder, Cronkite News.
Himes says if you do encounter a rattlesnake in your yard, keep a safe distance, which is at least 3 feet away. and call a professional for removal. If you happen to get bit, the Arizona Poison and Drug Information Center says do not apply a tourniquet or ice to the bite. Do not suck out the venom or cut around the bite, and do go to a hospital immediately.
The Arizona Department of Education is launching a new campaign to get parents to enroll in public school systems. After the pandemic, the state saw a significant drop in student enrollment into public schools. According to the Department of Arizona, saw a drop of nearly 40,000 students this last year compared to the 2019-2020 session. The Ready for School campaign has a website and designated hotline number that will help parents learn how to get their kids back in school. The department will also send targeted mail and have the TV, radio, and social ads as part of the outreach program. Arizona Superintendent of Public Instruction, Kathy Hoffman, says in-person learning is the best way for children to get an education.
A 12-year-old phenom has big dreams to change the world of STEM education. Alina Wicker, a Texas native, set the bar high for herself. Alina Wicker is only 12 years old. While most students are in middle school, she will be starting her college education at ASU after receiving a full 4-year scholarship from the Phoenix Mercury. They teamed up with Desert Financial Credit Union, Fry's Food Stores, and ASU to present the Random Act of Kindness to Alina. Her goal is to be the youngest woman to intern at NASA, and her message to other young girls who want to pursue STEM careers is to never doubt yourself.
All my life, I've just said, reach. Because guess what? I reached for the job in the intern in the college, and I didn't stop.
Alina started her own business, The Brown STEM Girl, and wants to empower young girls to join the STEM industry. She wants to help students get scholarships and excel in STEM education.
I'm Harrison Klopp. Coming up after the break, all of your Cronkite Sports Report. Plus, how the recent success of the Phoenix Suns has influenced business in the Valley.
Every day I wake up, my first thought is, how can I serve this community?
The biggest hurdle was not taking PTSD personally.
Would you welcome, please, the amazing.
Everybody that watches this, they say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
Here we go. Lights up. Whoa.
As artists, we conduct our educations in public. You can never know whether it's going to be a success. One just has to risk it.
It's you and the work and the place. It's a very particular relationship.
Here's our lens. Tell us what you think.
Friday night at 9 on Arizona PBS. It's prime time on your time. Watch Prime Afternoons every weekday on Arizona PBS. Did you miss a show in the evening? Then catch up on Prime Afternoons, your favorite dramas.
No more bloody heroics.
Antiques Roadshow.
Really?
Nature and Nova.
It's time to reintroduce some wonder into this miracle of nature.
All of the best from PBS on Prime Afternoons. Weekdays starting at 1:30, only on Arizona PBS.
Ready to watch the best of PBS anytime, anywhere, on nearly any device? It's easy with the free PBS Video app. Simply download the PBS Video app on your mobile or streaming device. Now you can watch the latest PBS episodes or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and local content from your PBS station.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. I'm Harrison Klopp, and this is your Cronkite Sports Report. The Suns are rallying the Valley to Phoenix Suns Arena as their run for a championship continues. But along with the fans, the team is also bringing a boost to local business in the area. Emily Carmen has more on the economic impact that the playoffs are having on downtown Phoenix.
Let's go Suns! Playoff basketball has brought thousands of fans to downtown Phoenix.
And with the increased foot traffic in the area, local businesses are winning just as much as the Suns.
When they're winning, it's the big difference. For the last 11 years, they haven't made the playoffs, so it wasn't that good for us. But when they're playing good, obviously the bigger crowds, the better it is.
Due to the pandemic, Willies Taco Joint is only open on game days. Even so, owner Eric Stultz says this is enough to help the restaurant turn a profit, thanks to the hundreds of patrons who visit before games, especially playoff games.
They're happy to be out, happy to get out of their houses and go to events. So, the staff's making good money and sales have been good.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 73% of surveyed business owners in the Phoenix metro area said COVID-19 had a large or moderate impact on their business. The Suns' playoff run gives them a much-needed boost as they capitalize on the crowds that would otherwise not be in the area.
After such a hard time, it's great to see a lot of the small businesses thrive. It's wonderful getting this support, and this is a great reason to bring people down here.
As a small business owner, we got to support each other. If we don't support each other, then that's our downfall right there.
The longer the Suns stay in the playoffs, the better it will be for business. In Phoenix, Emily Carmen, Cronkite News.
The Suns continue their playoff run against the Denver Nuggets in Game 2 of the Western Conference semifinals tonight. Tip-off is at 6:30 at Phoenix Suns Arena. MMA fighter Lauren Murphy returns to the Valley for UFC 263 at Gila River Arena this Saturday. Murphy trained for several years at the MMA lab in Glendale. She was among several fighters heading up the media day at the Hyatt in downtown Phoenix. Murphy will face Joanne Calderwood in a flyweight bout. Both fighters will have an advantage in the fight, with Calderwood having the edge in height and Murphy in reach. However, Murphy has won her last 4 fights and looks to notch her 15th win this weekend.
I lived here for 5 years. We know where all the good spots are to eat. I've been to fights in the Gila River Arena before. Our house was like a mile from the arena that we're gonna fight in. So I know that area, and it feels good to be back in Phoenix, and it's been really fun making good memories here.
That's it for the Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Aaron and John Luca.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Stick around for Break It Down. That's next.